Hello, this is the second of our Pilates Flow workouts. Now, if you've done number one, you'll know that we finished in a lunge position. Now, when we put all the moves together, you'll do everything on one side and then everything on the other. So we're starting on the right side, so we'll have stepped forward and our left leg will be forward and you'll have finished in that position. Okay, so from here, we're going to go into a balance. Now, we've really worked the legs in the first workout. We're going to continue to work the legs, but we're going to balance with it. It's all about balance. And that means using the glutes a lot. So we're really going to try and balance out our workouts by balancing and using the buttocks a little bit more. So you're going to come up onto your left leg, drop your right hip forward and down, and then as much as you can, you're going to come into a T shape. Now, I'm going to start here. In fact, you could start with your foot on the floor. That's absolutely fine. And just taking one, I'm putting my hands on my core to make sure my core is engaged, one or two hands up. But your aim is to work into this position here. Now, what's really important when you're doing this is that you drop the right hip down. I hope you can see that on me. The temptation, and commonly people do this with the hips slightly over leaning into the supporting leg side. And you don't want to do that because if you've got any issues in your hips, that's going to exacerbate tightness in the hip. But if you drop the hip down, you actually get length in the hip, which is what you want. Work the shoulder blades down, bring that apple under your chin and pull your leg out from your hip socket. So imagine someone's taking a hold of your right foot right now and pulling it out so you feel a squeeze in your buttocks as you do this. Now, you may have fallen off your balance by this time. That's absolutely fine. This is my good leg, so I'm staying on it. But if I was on the other side, I guarantee you'll have fallen over by now. So don't worry if you've come off your balance. Go back into it when you can. Now, though, I'm going to bend the left knee and we're going to go into a side balance. Now, again, you can keep your foot on the floor and just go into a side balance position. Now, when you're in a side balance position, you're pushing your hips underneath you and squeezing your buttocks. Your aim is to get into this position here. So I'm going to really get that right leg up, but I'm going to again pull my right leg out from my hip sockets. I'm lifting in through my core. I'm working my shoulder blades down and I'm squeezing my buttocks, lifting up through my pelvic floor. And I cannot look at you while I'm doing this because I really would fall over. Breathe, work the shoulder blades down. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hollow, hollow, hollow. 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale. Don't worry if you have to put your foot down. 1 more big breath. Now you're going to stand up and we're going to do some single leg squats. But we're doing it all in a balanced position. And we're going to do some hip rotations with it as well. These are really nice hip rotations. So you bend the left knee. Don't worry if you need to put your foot down. Absolutely fine. Bend the left knee. Drop your right knee in behind the left. And then you're going to come up, squeeze your left buttock, and circle your hip around. Now, don't worry if you need to put your foot down on each stage. Yep. So you can do this with your foot down. So you bend, you lift up, you circle, and then you drop down. You bend, you lift up, you circle, and then you drop down. See if you can do it without the foot touching. You bend, you lift up, you circle, and then drop down again. Let's do one more. You bend, lift up, and then you circle, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the floor and into what we call a low lunge position. Now, when you're in this low lunge position, you want to get your back leg as long as you can. So I'm working my right foot back and back and back and back on my mat. You should be able to see that. It's gradually sliding back. And I'm trying to get that right leg as long as I can get it. Really lengthening it out back along my mat. I'm going to place my hands on the inside of my legs so that I can really work on my top line, my upper body. And that's really important. Now, if this is all too much for you, just drop your knee down to the floor. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. If you notice that movement I'm doing forwards and backwards, we do this a lot in Pilates, in our Pilates Flow. And that's because sometimes, the body just wants to move. It doesn't want to be held still. And this is how we release and relax. And when you're trying to get muscles to let go and release tension, little oscillations like this are really healthy. We're not doing what's known as ballistic stretching, which is bouncing, which can be a little bit harsh on the muscles. We're just gently rocking. That's all we're doing. And that's really softening and helping to lengthen the body. But I'm still connecting to my core. I'm still thinking about all those postural points, bringing the chin in, length in the back of the neck. I keep looking up at you and shortening my neck, but you actually want your chin in, so don't look up at me. Look down the floor. Lengthen the back of your neck, chin in. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing into diagonal. So I'm going to cross my right leg across and work into a diagonal as I'm doing this. So lengthen out that back leg, lift into your center, breathe. And keep lengthening that leg out. Keep working your shoulder blades down the back of your rib cage. And then we're going to step the foot back in and drop the knee down. And then I'm going to look over my shoulder and look over into the back corner of the room. So I'm looking down, and as I do that, I'm pressing my hip down into the floor and getting some length down the side of my leg here. So press your hip down and just breathe it through. Work the shoulder blades down. Now you may find these positions really hard at first. If you do, just relax. If you've got any problems with your wrist, you can come down onto your elbow. Yeah, if you find that easier, and you can also just drop your hips down to the floor if you need to. But ideally, you've got your hip off the floor and you're dropping it down. Now I'm going to bring my right knee up towards my left heel, and I'm going to sit cross-legged and then lift up nice and tall. Work the shoulder blades down. Now this is all about height in your spine. Again, you may find if you're really tight, you cannot get into this position. Do not worry about it. Have a go. You should be warmed up. Make sure you're in a nice warm room as well when you're doing this. And just lift in through your center and then just look over your shoulder. Now, if your leg is out here or your bottom leg has to be straight because your knee doesn't like it, you can do it in this position. That's all fine. Yep, just try to lift your spine up tall. Use your left hand for support and work the shoulder blades down the back of the rib cage and breathe and lift in through your core as you're doing this. Okay? And then I'm going to come up. Work our way back, roll up, and then do it on the other side. So we're going to step forward with the right leg this time into that lunge position. Squeeze the buttocks, work the shoulder blades down, lift up through the core muscles, tuck the elbows back behind you, come up into your balance. Drop the left hip down, hold and breathe. Inhale, exhale. Lift into your center. Keep dropping that left hip down, and again, breathe. Okay, and now I'm going to bend the right knee, but then I'm going to come up into my side balance. Remember, you can do this with your foot on the floor, or you can try and lift the foot up off the floor, lengthen and pull your legs out from your hip sockets. Keep working the shoulder blades down. Keep breathing it through. Inhale, exhale. And again, breathe. And then we're going to come up, and we're going to do those single leg squats. Now remember, you can do this with your foot on the floor, so you're going to bend, drop the knee in, and then you're going to come up and circle it around. Yep, and then bend, drop the knee in, and then come up and circle it around. I'm going to try and do it without putting my foot down. See, I told you I wasn't as good on this side. Bend, and then squeeze, lift up, and circle it around. I have to really concentrate to do this with my foot off the floor on this side. But see, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Circle it around, and then bend, and then lift up, woohoo, circle it around. I'm going to try one more. So I'm going to bend, and then lift up, and then we're going to put our foot all the way down to the back of the mat. So lengthen and drop down. So work that leg into a longer position. Keep working your leg back and back and back and back and back on your mat. Lift in through your core muscles. Work the shoulder blades down the back of your rib cage. Let's do that now into the diagonal. So cross the leg behind. And again, moving forwards and backwards. Get that leg longer and longer and work it back. So you're working your foot back into the back right corner of your room. Keep breathing, keep hollowing. Work the shoulder blades down. What we don't want is the hips up, yeah? You drop the hips down, and the position of your upper body will help you to get your legs in the right position. If you find all of this too much, just drop your knee to the floor and relax. Don't feel you have to do it, but keep working at it and it will get better. Okay, now that we're all going to drop our knee down, bring it onto the mat though, and then I'm going to press the outside of the right side of my body, sorry, that's the left side, so the outside of your left side of your body down into the floor, and then you're going to look over your shoulder. So hold that position, drop the hips down, lift into your core, breathe it through. Now the back knee is going to come up to the front heel. So I'm going to bring my back knee up, sit cross-legged, and come up nice and tall. Now you have the opposite hand over the opposite knee, and you lift up tall. You may not be out, you might be tying yourself in knots trying to get into this position. Do not worry about it. Everyone does that at first. So you might want to just straighten your legs out and just cross the left leg over the right, and then just lift up nice and tall. Work the shoulder blades down and breathe. And again, breathe. One more big breath. And then come back onto your mat. Work your way back, send your tailbone up, bend the knees, soften them, and roll back up. and you've done your workout. Well done.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, please do make comments. Any comment you make means we can feedback and make new content, which is content that will help you further. Also, please like and subscribe.